Hey guys, how's it going? Good to see you. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Good to have you. I'm so happy you're here. If you like this video, consider giving it a thumbs up, ring the bell to get notified every time new content is released, and subscribe to the channel. It helps me out. I also have a lot of fun content planned from now through the end of the year. Today we're going to play with new makeup, and were released, I think, as recent as a month ago. Well, without further ado, what I have here is Charlotte Tilbury's Jewel Pot eyeshadow. This is in the shade Pillow Talk. She also has a second shade, I think it's Walk of Shame, I want to say. Let me take a look and put that below. But I do have Pillow Talk here, and that is what I have on the center of my lids. You guys will see me put everything on during the demo. We're going to start with swatches, and I'm going to compare the Jewel Pot's eyeshadow with her Eyes to Mesmerize in Rose Gold. So different shades, also different formulas, but for those curious, I thought I'd just take it out and do some swatches for you guys. Then we have the Urban Decay Lash Freak Mascara. And the third item that I have is SUQQU's Powdered Blush Palette in shade 102. For fall, they released a number of things actually. I believe 2 quads, some lip products, and then 2 blush palettes. And they are beautiful. I had a tough time choosing between 101 or 102. I'll pop a picture of 101 above so you guys can just have it as a reference. SUQQU is not available to order directly or purchase directly from the States. So I did order this from Selfridges, and let's go ahead and do some swatches of these blushes and the highlights. Now I'm calling these shimmer shades highlights because the amount of shimmer they have in them, the way I would use them is definitely more as highlights than actual blushes. But if you wanted to go for a very shimmery, glitzy look, you could actually use these 2 here as blushes. So I think you'll see what I mean when I swatch them because they're pretty pigmented for being highlighters. So we'll start with Charlotte Tilbury. We have the Jewel Pot versus Eyes to Mesmerize in Rose Gold. This is what the products look like on my finger. This is the Jewel Pot, so much more glittery, shimmery, whereas the Rose Gold is more subdued, and it's more of a metallic without the same kind of sparkle and glitter. The formulas are different as well. Rose Gold, much more emollient, and the Jewel Pot is kind of like, I mean, a gel product or a powder gel product of some sort. It feels dry to the touch, but it'll adhere to your finger or brush, whichever tool you decide to use. I think the finger is probably the most effective way. So let's go ahead and swatch these 2. Good payoff here. And as you can see, much more emollient, the Eyes to Mesmerize. Eyes to Mesmerize will dry down to a powder and it does not budge. So I think both products are pretty great because they don't budge. And I think this is more of a all over eyelid eyeshadow, whereas the Jewel Pot is a pop of color. But you can also use Jewel Pot as a all over lid color as well, because as you can see, it's fairly pigmented. And for blushes, I'm going to first swatch the matte products, which is the blushes themselves. This is what the 3 shades look like on my finger, and I love how different they look from each other. You know you're gonna get different looks and different effects from just the matte blushes. The blushes feel very creamy when I went in to swatch them, and they swatch really nicely on my arm. As you can see, it just kind of glides on. I think they're pigmented, but not too much. They're easy to work with. That's the vibe I'm getting from them. Then we have the highlighters, and I'm going to swatch the highlighter underneath the blush that they're paired with on the palette. These are the 3 highlighters. This highlighter here sat underneath the blush with more purple, So that's this one here. And then we have the Champagne highlighter. I'll swatch it above, and it's set above the blush that has more red to it, more red undertone. And finally, this blush here, the one that has brown and orange. This is the highlighter, so quite a deep shade. I wonder if you can use this as like some kind of contour even. Yeah. You have to go light-handed with these two if you're using it as a highlighter because they're so pigmented, and that's what I meant when I talk about I'm calling these as highlighters, but you could potentially just use them as blushes too, depending on the look and effect you're trying to achieve. Let's head on to the demo. I'll see you guys at the end. I'm going to take the Viseart Solstice Petite Pro palette, and we're gonna go into this shade here, Crescendo, and I'm applying that all over the lid. So I'm basically using the shade as my base today before we apply the Charlotte Tilbury Jewel Pots in Pillow Talk. I'm actually going to go into Summertide, and we're applying that to the inner and outer corners. And we're going to take the Jewel Pot eyeshadow here using a finger. I'm going to put that onto the center of the lid. I could stop here. I think there's a good amount on the center of the lid, but if you want a bit more of the color, a bit more sparkle, you can add on another layer. So that's with kind of 3 applications versus 2. And I'll just even this out by putting a 3rd one on this side. Then just for fun, we're gonna go into the SUQQU blush palette, and I'm going to take this purple blush here, and I'm just going to dab a little bit because for fun, I wanna add this to the outer corners and just see how the colors blend and play together. I feel like this would be a nice match with the Jewel Pot shade, and if you were to use this color as actually blush, having that on your eyes a little bit just kind of pulls it together. Yeah, I think the color is really pretty. I think it goes along with everything else we've used so far. This is definitely a very light, purpley, pink, sparkly look that's also fitting for the fall. So not necessarily just, good for the spring. You can make something light like this also work for the fall. I'll put on foundation concealer, then we'll come back for the cheeks. For blushes, we're gonna try all 3 blushes and highlighters in this video. On my right cheek, I'm gonna use this shade here, the one that has actually a bit more red. It comes across kind of pink on camera, but it definitely has more red. And then on my left cheek, we're gonna go into this shade here, which looks just really fun and has some brown and orange undertone to it. And I'm just gonna go light-handed because I'm not sure how they'll apply. I think they're fairly pigmented, or at least from the swatches, they're so creamy. I feel like you're gonna get a lot of color from them. So this is one application. I'm gonna go in for a second. Yep, you definitely see it more now. I'll use this to buff it out. So that is what it looks like for the shade here. And we're going to add the highlighter right above it. And we'll just add some to the forehead as well. I think this kind of champagne highlighter is going to be flattering when you use it against any of the shades in the palette. I know they paired it like this, but I feel like you could probably mix and match and still get really flattering results. Let's move on to the left cheek. This is one application. Let's go in for a second. And so this is how this shade looks on the cheek. For highlighter, we're going to do the same. We're going to go with the highlighter that it's paired with. And add some to the forehead. So for the third blush and highlighter, we're gonna go on to that footage right now. I'll come back after to tie up the rest of the look and try the mascara. We're gonna go into this shade here, and we're just gonna light-handed add this to the cheek. I am using the side that doesn't already have this kind of corally color here. I'm just not sure how pigmented it is, so we could always, I'm adding a second application now. And then we'll go in to this highlight right below, kind of plum purpley blush. And just a word about the look I have on today. The eye look, the eyeshadow, is from Using Dior's Golden Nights collection for the holiday, and this is using the Color Story Black Night. So for mascara, we're gonna try today Urban Decay's Lash Freak. This mascara I have not tried before at all. Sometimes through the years you get different samples, and sometimes I don't even remember what I have tried and what I haven't. But this mascara is supposed to volumize, define, and lift. And I think the catchphrase is that it has a freaky brush right here. I think that's kind of funny. Okay, let's take a look at the brush. Okay, so very short bristles. They're not very dense. And I guess this wave or the shape to the brush is conducive to maybe defining lashes and whatnot. And what's interesting is on the side of the brush that doesn't have any bristles down here on the body, it actually has bristles up at the top, right at the tip here. So I guess you're meant to use this side to comb out your inner lashes, and then this side here to actually work the product onto the rest of the lashes. Okay, I see good product application distribution, and I'm gonna use the side that has little bristles right at the top here, and we're gonna comb the inner lashes. Initial thoughts on the mascara. When I saw the bristles and the brush wand, I thought maybe it's going to be really messy because the bristles are so short and they're only really on one side of the brush head. But as I was working the product on, I find that surprisingly, I didn't get a lot of transfer onto my lid. Today I do have a lighter eyeshadow look, so if there's any transfer, it's extremely noticeable and just makes cleanup a little bit more daunting. So I do like the brush applicator. It does look unconventional, and the little bristles at the top of the applicator it's pretty useful, I would say, because you could really use it to get into these smaller lashes here, the lashes that are more tucked away. As for the volume, define, and lift, definitely a lift. There is more volume added. Not so much in the department of lengthening, but that's not the main product description. So I guess it's not really a strong lengthening mascara, but you definitely do get volume, and it does help you kind of comb out your lashes. I'd love to give this a few more tries and then update you guys in a did it work video. I'm interested to see what kind of transfer I'm going to get from the mascara, or maybe no transfer at all. We'll see. And for lipstick today, we're gonna go with Victoria Beckham's Girl. It's a nice nude shade that has a good amount of brown undertone. This is the finished look. I love how everything turned out. This is like a fresh fall look, in my opinion, and this is the kind of look that I want to go out with during the daytime because it's fresh, it puts me in a good mood. The lip color is also perfect, has a good amount of brown underneath that pulls everything together, especially the blush on the left side of my cheek and all the way through to the eyeshadow look. This is the first time I've used any SUQQU products at all. And seeing others on YouTube talk about SUQQU, I've always been very, very interested. But there was nothing that really grabbed my attention the way that these blush palettes did. I know during, I think late summer, they also released 2 blush palettes and then another 2 in the fall. So I think all of those have been pretty successful and popular with makeup or beauty enthusiasts. And if you are also interested in SUQQU, or you're just looking for a fun blush palette for the fall, that's probably one of the top items that I have in mind. Again, they're available on Selfridges. The company is based on the UK. You could get things shipped to you pretty quickly. In fact, it's really impressive how quickly this order arrived. I think I ordered it maybe Thursday and it got here Tuesday. You can also select the option of kind of a 1-year unlimited shipping if you pay $55 upfront. So that's something to think about, especially if you think you might order a couple more things from Selfridges in the next year. And Selfridges does carry items, various items actually, from a number of brands that don't make it to the States. Notably, the YSL All Hours Cushion Foundation. I don't know why, but the only YSL cushion we have available in the States is the Touche Eclat, which I think they have phased out at this point or are still phasing out. But all the other cushions, the ones that I really like, for example, the Fusion Ink one, and then now we have the All Hours one, that's not available in the States. You can actually get them off of Selfridges. I'll put a link below for the SUQQU blush palette, and if you have any questions, leave a comment. I'll try my best to answer it. Good to see you guys. Take care. See you in the next one. Bye.